all your
There we go.
hide all your titty fat.
What's straight here?
Let's fix your hair. We are live. All right. I'm just going to start up the audio, and then you will get our ashes. Do you have the likes?
I do have the likes.
Awesome.
Oh,
I like the fact that you have the likes.
I think Joe should read the likes from now on.
I'll read the likes.
He should.
Then,
he's already been commissioned.
just for comedic value, you try to pronounce the names after you already know how to pronounce them. See how bad you screw them up.
You're setting me up for a fail. That's fucked up.
You set yourself up for it.
You're right. All right, ready, boys?
We just pointed out. Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2. Hello and welcome to the Freemasons podcast with your hosts, Right Worshipful Brother George Mudgery,
Worshipful Brother Joe.
And worshipful brother Ken.
We're up here finally. We've had to take like a week and a half vacation,
Like a month.
Let's see here.
Sorry about that.
Thursday was what? Thursday something was going on.
Stated here.
We had to state it here, right?
Ken had it stated.
I was dying on the couch all the way from Thursday to basically Sunday, so we didn't record Sunday.
You had something that was not COVID.
I had something that was not COVID. It was just a simple head cold.
You still get normal colds.
And
Yep,
on
that
that
happened.
Friday, my transmission blew in my car. It blew up. Yes, I know Joe's already got the smile because he's going to make comments. Discord was basically saying George likes trannies and all kinds of stuff like that. I know that's where you're going with it, right?
I just know what Puppet George said.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah,
Miss that little guy.
my car blew up. Driving it to work, just transmission went kapoom. Again, I can no longer. I did get a new car, but I can no longer sing the "Ode to My Car" by Adam Sandler every morning, as I got so accustomed. You've heard it before.
Yeah.
Piece
No,
of
I know what you're
shit
talking
car. If you haven't heard it, you need to stop this podcast if you're listening to it on Apple,
Look it up.
and you need to go listen to it, and then get back to this. Definitely come back, but listen to that.
Baby, come.
Anyway, so that's it. Blake Ray, what's going on, guys? Finally got y'all live. Yep, we're here.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in. At some point in the next century, I'm gonna shit on my own mother lodge right now. At some point, maybe in 20, 30 years, we'll probably be old geezers up here. Hello and welcome to the Freemasons podcast. And there's still going to be plastic on this wall. So Morningstar guys, let's go.
Well, if you were at the meeting
I kinda
Thursday
like
and didn't make me be secretary, I had to fill in. I had some really small shoes to fill that night.
I'm secretary.
And,
you're secretary.
But
anyway.
apparently, there's the trim comes in 12-foot pieces because they're trying to not have a bunch of joints. So they needed somebody with the truck. It's been taken care of. It should probably be here this weekend.
Well, I actually work at a lumber yard, and I know for a fact they come in 16s if you get finger jointed primed. So that's
All I did was take the minutes, man.
boys. Check your shoes.
That sounds like
Smell-
somebody who should have ordered the for these guys. You should
don't
have
know.
volunteered your services, brother.
I see what you're doing there. All right,
Yeah.
that's fine. Anyway,
That's kind of your fault.
let's get into some Facebook likes. Being that somebody's banned from Facebook, Joe is now our guy.
All right, let's get to our new likes. First, we've got Danny Osborne, who I believe that we spoke
yes.
to on our last episode.
Yes, we did.
We have Sergio Carlos Tamez. We have David E. Engelhart, Dom Austin, and last but not least, Eli Dardis.
Okay, so Engelhart. Tell me he shouldn't come into like the Brett the Hitman Hart theme. Right? That's like a badass last name.
Yeah.
And then I got stuck with Mudry,
Engelhart.
which is basically you're dumb spell. Or it's Mudry spelled backwards is you're dumb. So I mean, how the hell did I get stuck
I
with that?
never knew that.
YRBUM.
I can't believe you volunteered that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get on that Discord.
Yeah,
Everybody else
exactly.
gets badass last names that should come into like Brett the Hitman Hart themes, and what do I get? You're dumb.
You're dumb.
You're dumb. Anyway, Joe, read him. Lead him.
Read him. All right, brothers. Right hand to arms.
To arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire good fire. Fire all. Together, brothers.
Vivat, vivat, vivat.
It said a little like cough medicine, no?
Yeah.
Tasted a little like shit.
Somebody pour that out and put the Robitussin or something in there.
Might be the temperature.
Yeah, which, by the way, if you are on TikTok, which thank you for somebody banning it.
It's not banned. It's back.
It's back. All right. But there was a thing going around kids were doing. It was like the Robitussin challenge. Don't fucking do that. Please.
No.
Please. If you're listening to this, don't do the Robitussin challenge. You know what it is?
No.
It's basically you drink an entire bottle of Robitussin or NyQuil and you hallucinate.
Robo tripping. Yeah, that's a good way to
Robo-tripping.
also poison yourself. So
It's also a way to destroy your
First
liver.
of all,
so don't
you-
be freaking stupid.
You don't need to
please
do that. First of all you need is 2 shots of NyQuil and an Actifed, because that's what I used to do in high school.
Okay, don't do that.
Yeah, I
either.
don't do that either, please.
I'm just saying you don't need that much.
This is a family show.
I don't even
Yeah.
know they make Actifed
Freemasons
anymore. Do they
podcast
still make
closes.
Actifed? I think that's the stuff you got to get from behind the
Disclaimer from this
behind
podcast
the
does
counter
not
now.
condone doing anything that
No,
was
I'm just saying
talked
it's
about in this
possible.
episode. You could potentially die. We do not condone.
No, you don't die.
Thanks, Rocco.
You multiply.
God.
That's very good. Well played.
right.
Yeah.
With that being said,
But anyway, before we get into that, it's
Okay.
sad news for the folks that followed me on TikTok. I've deleted my TikTok account, so there's no more Fat Brad Pitt on TikTok. I'm not there anymore. I just decided it was a time waster.
on top of that, we also don't ever want to see you do the dance that you did ever again.
I wore the shirt. The shirt I wore in the dance. That's why I don't have to do it again. Every 4 months, somebody likes it or Bill Powell comments on it, and it just goes right through the cycle
Rolling
again.
back up.
I love that.
All right, let's get into the topic. We are episode 148, and this topic is going to be what organizations to not join as a Freemason. So let me give you a little background as to why I came up with this a couple days ago, and actually talked to the boys. I reached out. Joe reached out to me first, and I said, well, here's what I'm thinking, and here's why. And what are you up to?
I think the puppet needs to be part of this episode.
Probably, yeah. He could tell us a thing or two.
This freaking puppet. So
It's been a while.
this, I was driving, and again, as I'm driving, for work, and I'm sitting there in the truck, and I'm listening to the news, and there's people. There's no surprise. It's not political. There's rioting, looting going on, and I'm sitting there saying to myself, like, what if there was a Mason who was out there doing this? So it got me thinking of, I would hope that brothers and Masons would stay away from that type of activity, because it is a violation of your Masonic oath as a Mason you are to be a peaceful citizen.
Not consistent with our values.
Not consistent with their values, so you could be thrown out of the Masons. And not for nothing, if you're doing that kind of shit, I don't think we want you.
Agree.
It's not what we stand for.
Right.
So anyway, that's where I kind of came up with this topic, and we just wanted to go through we're going to go through the roundabout about what we think organizations are. This freaking puppet.
He may be a member of one or two himself.
I hate this puppet because it's going to be he's just going to be kicking my ass.
It's going to be a chaos episode. It's going to be great.
We're going to try to keep it serious, but I feel like it's going to quickly devolve fast.
Those eyebrows, though.
For any of you guys listening at Apple, you can go on YouTube and you could see Puppet George. And if you listen to any of our past episodes, Puppet George is a manifestation and the antithesis of a good Freemason, and it's a mockery of me. So
A little bit of both. Yeah.
this is what we're doing today. Apparently, this is how the episodes go. But anyway, one of the first things that I guess I came up with, and this again, tying into what I was saying in regards to listening to the news and the rioting and looting and everything, is I would have to say any organization that if you're a Freemason, now we're talking about solely if you are a Mason or you want to become a Mason, these organizations to stay the hell away from. And I'll let you guys, we'll pass it on from here, but I'll jump in first, and I'll say any organization, and I'm not going to make any organization famous. I don't want to do that. But any organization that promotes civil unrest and or segregation or suppression of a freedom of speech.
Yep.
I would have to say. You all listening can draw between the lines, but we as Freemasons do not stand for any of those things. We are peaceable citizens. We are peaceable people. We are told in our very first degree that, without divulging too much of the ritual, but you are to peaceably submit to the rules and laws of the land of which you reside, in your grand jurisdiction of which you reside. So I think that to me is that was my sticking point. Is you're to be a peaceful citizen, and I know people are going to say, well, the founding fathers weren't. They rose up against the English.
Yeah,
there are many ways to look at it, and you can say, yes, they rose up against, they were supposed to be peaceful citizens, but I don't think they had the same rituals back then.
I was going to say, I don't think that part of the ritual was added till after.
And realistically,
probably not.
Right. And realistically, they are to abide by the laws and the rules of the land. So in a sense, if a state decides to secede from or break away from England and they happen to be part of that state,
things were changing.
Yeah.
It was a gray area for sure.
It was there was definitely a gray area, and
but also we're taught to be free thinkers.
Right.
But understand, the founding fathers and those who were Masons that were part of the Boston Tea Party and the ones that were part of the I don't even say the Boston Massacre, because none of them I think were really there at that point. That was just, they were the rabble rousers. Maybe Sam Adams had a hand in it. Maybe I think John Adams was again. But my point being is that at that time, realistically, no one was kind of being hurt. No one's livelihood was being destroyed, with the exception of dumping tea over the side of a boat and giving the big FU to the crown. I don't remember. I could be off on my history, but I don't remember if anybody, with the exception of I can't even remember his name. This is terrible. But the five that were at the Boston Massacre, but they were, they weren't antagonized. At least I don't think they were. I think they were maybe throwing sticks and stones at British soldiers.
I think they hit him in the face with a couple ice balls.
Yeah, ice balls.
It's tough to really know exactly what happened back then. The historical record is definitely not as detailed as it is today. But I mean,
they were treading the line. Let's be clear.
There was a line.
They were treading the line,
and that happens in any, it doesn't matter what period in history. Protests can always kind of cross that line, and that's where it's just
not peaceful protests.
Not specifically peaceful protests.
And I would also just like to add on this too, is that I understand that it's not everybody who's doing this, and it's a select group of people who may be doing this. But again, you are guilty by association. If I'm up here with Joe and Ken or whomever, and one of you two decide, hey, I'm going to pull out this fat bag of mushrooms and just start munching on them, and somebody gets raided, somebody gets, let's say the cops were scoping one of you guys out, and they come up here, they're arresting all three of us.
Yeah, we're all going down.
We're all going down. So you are guilty by association of the company you keep. So just be aware of that. If you're going to be a Mason, or you want to be a Mason, or you are a Mason, be careful. So
we're up here hanging with fucking Puppet George, which is probably not a
I'll get my turn. But fun fact about John Adams, if my memory serves me correctly, he actually, as an example of Masons believing in justice and equality, was actually the defense attorney for one of the British soldiers that shot and killed. There was a small boy that got shot and killed.
Yes.
He defended that guy, and I'm pretty sure he got him off.
Another fun fact: the first person to die in the Boston Massacre was a black man.
I think there was the kid I'm talking about. Yeah.
Interesting fun fact. Anyway, continue.
That's it. That's all I have. John Adams was his defense attorney.
So that was my that's my take on it. If you're going to be a Mason, stay the hell out of stay away from any group that promotes civil unrest and or rabble rousers. And the other thing I wanted to bring up on this, and then I'll pass it off to Ken and everything, but I am also, and we all make the joke, yes, George got thrown off of Facebook. I'm a member of an organization that is what the hell? Most people already know, but I'm a 3%er. And they, much like Freemasonry, have gotten a bad rap. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Now, do you feel that the values of that organization are consistent? Well, I mean, obviously, you're going to say yes to this, because if you didn't, you wouldn't have joined the organization. But do you feel that there's any areas where some of their values tread the line?
No. And I'll tell you why. I actually have the bylaws of 3%ers up right in front of me.
Oh, we're going all legal here.
So I'm actually going to break this
get my
down.
Spectacles on.
I'm going to break this down so you guys can understand. Well, first off, let's go into the history of the 3%ers. I don't want to get too much into it. Go ahead. The history of the 3%ers is basically. Oh, I can't zoom in on this, can I? It's not going to let me zoom. I got to find a better website because I don't have the bylaws in front of me. But
go from memory.
Prepared as usual.
Yeah, because I can't even read the principles of this. So
they don't have good web designers working for them. That's all.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Pretty smart. Okay, I got it. So I'm just going to give a quick history of it. And it's the 3%ers basically were the Minutemen of the American Revolution. And around the time of the Boston Massacre, the Bunker Hill, Battle of Bunker Hill, Lexington, Concord, it was only 3% of the colonists were actively fighting in the field against the British.
Right.
So that's where the term 3%er comes from. And just to go through a couple of they have 4 principles of 3%ers, and they're basically moral strength, knowing what is right and wrong, and acting accordingly. And I just want you guys, and you guys are up here, you guys know I'm a 3%er, but I've never actually, can you guys confirm I've never actually read these to you?
No.
Okay. So you guys tell me in your own honest opinion if it's violating anything of my Masonic oath. Okay. Because that's what's important, right?
Yeah, that's
what the whole point of the show. So, moral strength, knowing what is right and wrong and acting accordingly, being trustworthy, truthful, and holding a high values and principles. Strength to stand up when something is morally wrong. 2, physical readiness. Physical readiness is defined as the ability to meet the physical demands of any task in order to accomplish the objective at hand. There are some 3%ers that have disabilities that prevent them from meeting physical demands, and for these, they are an exception.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not excluding anybody with a physical disability.
How's a crash diet? If you're into that, just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I said I was doing a crash diet earlier today, but
continue.
3. No first use of force. Do not fire unless fired upon. We are not the aggressor nor antagonist. We are purely defensive and only as a last resort.
Okay.
No targeting of innocence. Self-explanatory. So, I mean, that's pretty much. I think that's all of them here. Yep, that was pretty much it.
All right. So, I mean, as far as the actual rules of engagement, I don't see any particular conflict with the.
No, I don't see conflict. However, to be devil's advocate, I don't see much conflict in the 10 Commandments and Freemasonry, but well, it's the exception to maybe the first one.
Right.
However, it's how people take those tenets or commandments or bylaws. Yeah, you have bad people that are Christians.
Well, and
you have bad people that are Catholics. So just by upholding the bylaws or commandments or whatever the organization is, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't have bad apples within that.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And the same could be said about Freemasonry as well.
Absolutely.
And
any organization.
The 3%ers actually have a hierarchy. There's a national level of this, right? So it goes all the way up to the top, and you have state lead, you have state officers, much similar to Freemasonry. And if somebody screws up, you're out. Like, it's just that simple.
Because the reputation of the organization is at stake, and
correct.
Want that, yeah.
And I will also just say, similarly, there's a vetting process to get in. It's not just hey, I'm a 3%er, let me slap a tattoo in the back of my arm. No, it don't work like that.
No, I thought that's how it worked.
No.
Get out of a Cracker Jack box.
I'm just kidding.
No, I know.
Please don't hunt me down. Really, just
and that's just the common misconception is that it's not a militia, it's not a racist organization. These are all things that Freemasonry's gone through this similar trials and tribulations. We're all devil worshippers, baby killers, babysitters.
We're a political movement.
Right. No. So it's that's why I joined this organization. But I was on Facebook. I am a state officer of this other organization. And Zuckerberg, I got zucked. He just decided that this was a antagonist organization doing little or no homework. and he wiped it out. And everybody else who was downstream from that.
I mean, is
Kinda
that
shitty.
why? Did you get an email to that effect, or
No, I got nothing. I didn't get an
Yeah.
email. I didn't get a message. I got nothing.
So,
I didn't even get an explanation. I didn't get a chance to defend myself. So anyway,
That's their-
back on our main subject. We'll
Yeah.
get back into it now that I've just basically made a point that this organization, before I joined it, they vetted me, but I vetted them because I'm not going to
Oh,
put
yeah.
myself in any type of organization that may be maleficent, if you will.
Maleficent.
Like from
Big
Disney.
word, right?
I don't know if it applies in this situation. Is your tattoo itching?
No, I cut myself.
I was going to say.
Wait,
it's starting to
he
burn
just
a
said
little.
Maleficent.
Yeah, he said Maleficent.
That's the chick that Angelina Jolie played in the
That's
movie.
right.
It's
she
evil,
certainly
right?
did.
Evil, Maleficent,
She's
Evil?
Let's go with
well,
it.
Yeah.
I think you meant malevolent.
malevolent.
Malevolent
That's the
would
word
be
I was
the-
looking for.
But it's
Yeah,
okay. I
More
feel your
appropriate
pain.
term.
All right.
I was once in the Salvation Army,
Uh,
but I got thrown out too. I misunderstood when they said go out at Christmas and wave your ding-a-ling.
Jesus. Does he write these things on the fly? Like,
yeah, I think he does. He just comes up with this shit. Ken, what do you got? What you got? What would you pick for an organization that if you were a Mason
right.
to avoid?
Well, I think we talked a little bit about this on the phone. If I had to like pick one out of the air, I would say on the religious front, any religion, like Freemasonry does not have anything to say about which religion you belong to. You have to belong in, you have to believe in a higher power, absolutely, 100%. But they don't really say anything about what religion you belong to.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the world's religions is fine unless that religious ideology teaches lessons that are inconsistent with Masonry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the first one that comes to mind is, worshiping Satan, right? Satanism. I think that's the official definition
Yeah.
of that particular set of beliefs,
Yep.
where you're taught to, embrace violence
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and
Do unto others as they would do unto you, or
right,
something along those lines.
The mirror opposite of pretty much all of the teachings of the major world religions. Just to be,
Right.
well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to cast any shade on them. They
Mhm.
believe what they want to believe, and that's cool. But if you believe in doing harm to get your way,
Mm-hmm.
your value system is inconsistent with that of Freemasonry.
Absolutely.
So if you want to belong to that religious affiliation, by all means do so, but you're not going to
Right.
end up being in a Masonic lodge. And if you're already a member of Freemasonry and you decide to go that way, you're probably going to end up with some issues in pretty much all the jurisdictions around the world.
Yeah, no, I'd have to say I have to agree with you. Like anything that's, we have our tenants here as a Freemason, and Masons know it. We know what we stand for. So if you're going to join an organization that's the polar opposite of that, you can't reconcile the two.
Yep.
So
And we've had that subject before where we've talked about a Satanist applying.
Right.
And while we don't prescribe to one particular religion, yet it's in direct conflict.
take notice, conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. So we don't have an issue with the religion. We have an issue with the belief system and the value system that
Yes.
they're teaching their adherents.
that are
Correct.
inconsistent with what
Yep.
we teach.
Yep.
You were the puppet for it next.
I'll go next then.
All right.
Yeah. Joe
So
first.
kind of along I don't really want to pick on religion, but I'm going to. And I'm sure we'll get letters on this one or emails.
Well, you will.
G Mudry at CT Freemason.
Exactly. Yep.
Send all your inquiries.
No.
But again, it's one that's I'd say is not. Freemasonry, we believe in.
You actually dropped the email address too, you
You're supposed to drop the podcast one, not the CT Freemason.
I don't know. That's the Russian bot one that nobody signed.
Oh God, I hope Grand Lodge doesn't scan the emails.
They might.
edit it out. That's fine.
Too late now. It's live. There's nothing I can do about it now.
Oh well. You'll get some nice emails.
You're gonna get so much
You get,
spam.
you're
I
gonna get
know.
David Miscavige all over you.
We get Illuminati.
Well, it's
exactly.
worse than
We heard
the
that you
Illuminati.
want to join the Church of Satan.
But Freemasonry teaches freedom of thought, independent thought,
Mhm.
freedom, liberty, and it seems to me, based on what I know, like Church of Scientology is totally
Mm.
bad. It's more so the freedom of thought and just your personal individual freedoms. It's more of
Right.
a collective kind of thing, and it's just kind of weird in the
Right.
fact that it doesn't. You buy into in essence, somebody wrote a science fiction book that they turned into a religion, but there's a heavy control.
Mhm.
Like you're not free to come and go as you please. You're not free to do what you want. And
You're
it
also at the
seems to
beckoning will too, right?
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
in a
like
sense.
that to me. And even people that try to leave, the things that they do to them,
Yeah, defame him and everything. Like
that, and they follow them around, they harass them. That just seems like,
Yeah, we don't do that.
One, it seems against any religion that you would teach that you would hope to be a good thing, but certainly goes against the tenets of Freemason.
Yeah. Guess I'll bring it up. Me and you talked about it on the phone, but I guess I'll bring it up. Knights of Columbus.
Yeah,
Knights of Columbus.
Not
I don't saying-
know if I agree with that,
Okay.
but say your piece.
Not that I'm saying don't join the Knights of Columbus. Not that I'm saying that as a Mason, you can't be a Knight of Columbus. There are many, many Masons that are Knight of Columbus. My issue is reconciling the two because me as a Mason, again, the late, great, worshipful brother Alan Bunting said to me that Freemasonry is like a Protestant graveyard. We take everybody. It's a great line. But realistically, you don't need to have one religion to be a Freemason. We'll get into the Templar thing in a minute. But the Knights of Columbus, you have to be a Christian. So and again, I know it's not openly, how do I put this?
Exclusionary.
but that's a little bit. That's
Treading
more of
the
a. But it's
Yeah,
really it's a
yeah.
philosophical debate. It's not. It's not as clear cut as say the Church of Satan. Where it's
Right,
like, yeah,
right,
that's
right,
just
right.
bad.
Right.
But it's like, okay, so there are some gray areas here that may or may not be consistent with the teachings of Freemasonry,
Right,
and it
right,
takes you to, at the very least, you got to take a step back and examine, much like you have to do with Commandery
Right.
and being a Knight Templar.
Giving an example, if I will, you can't go to the Knights of Columbus as a Muslim and be like, hey, where's my petition, guys? Give me a petition. I want to join. You know,
It's almost like an appendant body of Christianity.
right. But
Yeah.
again, they're probably going to turn you away.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas the ground floor of Freemasonry, Blue Lodge, okay, well, we can even go farther. You have Blue Lodge, you have York Rite, all the way up to the Commandery.
Yep.
You have Scottish Rite all the way up to 33rd. You can join, actually, Shriners, like
Yeah, every other appendant
every
body,
other
really, yeah.
appending body
Yeah.
of Freemasons. So that it's not like where Freemasonry, you can join. You can be a Freemason as a Muslim. You can, as a Jew, as a Muslim, Buddhist, whatever the hell. You can join Freemasonry. But those same people can't say the same about going to Knights of Columbus.
Well, that's because of the origins of the Knights of
Correct.
Columbus.
But that's
which
what I'm
sure
saying.
You know all that. And
Right.
We've talked about it before.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's an appendant body of Christianity. It's a social order for
Right. And again, I'm not
Christians.
dispelling people from joining the
Mhm.
the Knights of Columbus. I just, as long as when we have our parades up Main Street, they're behind us and we're on horseback.
We always follow behind them in our parade in Waterbury, and they're super nice guys. And some of them
They
are
are.
members of our lodge,
Some of them
and
are
like we get
Masons, yeah.
along great, man. And they're
Yeah.
you know, they're what they're wearing is always like, you know, super crisp, like
Right.
cool uniforms and stuff. Like
I have
no issue with them.
And there may be some organizations, just to draw a clear line here, where we're not saying that their conduct is anti-Masonic.
correct.
But there may be aspects of it that are inconsistent with the tenets of Freemasonry.
Mhm.
We're not saying, I mean,
Right.
Church of Satan, unmasonic.
Yes.
I think we could agree
Stay
on
away.
that. But
I
there are
thought we
other
opened up on the
organizations-
whole unmasonic thing, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay. The
They just
We're talking about things that
certain values may be inconsistent with
Yep.
what
right.
the universality of Freemasonry.
And
Okay.
some things may be completely up to the Freemason, whether they feel like, okay, I can get me as a 3%er. You know, some Masons may be like, oh, no, you can't join that. They're like, not that they're not like we're a militia, but we are an organization that is prepared to defend the Constitution should a tyrannical government try to take over.
And you're a free thinker, and you have
I'm
the ability to come to those conclusions on your own, which is
Right.
something that Freemasonry teaches. So somebody else may disagree that's a Mason, but
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily. I mean, at least as long as it's not like overtly when you
Right.
look at the facts
Right.
against our tenets, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Oh, God.
That organization that you're a part of,
Yes.
is there a height requirement?
Clearly not.
Not that one. The Lollipop Guild. Ah!
Yes.
Uh,
I'm part of the lollipop.
Maximum height requirement.
I'm back.
Wonderful. So let's get into and again, I'm trying to stay apolitical here, but I'm going to go with any organization that promotes or doesn't promote, but does not allow that judges a man rather by his actions, but the pigmentation of his skin. And you can take this one way or the other. Doesn't matter. It's a black or white issue, if you get what I'm saying.
So if you're
It's like you, it
part
could
of a
go both
racist
ways.
organization-
Oh, God. What I'm saying is any organization that is a hate group or promotes segregation or between
judges a man
judges a man based on his melanin
right, yeah,
Right.
versus
In his skin.
character, yeah.
versus his character.
Yep, that's the antithesis of Masonry. We
Yes.
judge people
Nope.
based on their character,
Nope.
not based on any other
Right.
parameter.
The
And
internal qualifications.
The internal
Mhm.
qualifications. And on top of that, I just want to say that, again, give the grand jurisdiction of the state of Connecticut its due. We were the
Mhm.
first to recognize Prince Hall Masonry.
Mhm.
We do all of our events together and everything like that. There are some grand jurisdictions that don't do that yet.
Yeah, there's quite a few down south.
My hope
3 or
is that
4.
eventually they will open up and realize that, we're all brothers. It's the internal qualifications, not the external. I don't, me personally, see color. I see whether or not you're an asshole or not. If you're an asshole, don't come near me.
Mhm.
And that goes for no matter what you are. So for me as a Freemason, I will shy away from joining any organization that promotes the hate of another group of people based on the color of their skin and or demonizing another group of people based on the color of their skin. If that makes any sense. I know I was
Yeah, you really
I was
beat
in my
around the
dinghy
bush
treading
there.
water there, but
Yeah.
I think I pretty much did it pretty nice.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Jim Trensky,
Got it
but
across.
would not Freemasons defend the Constitution and the government, since most of the founding fathers have been Masons? Jim Trensky,
No, we're
brother
taught,
Jim, brother Jim.
We're taught to adhere or to abide by the laws of the land.
I will say one of two things, and we could have this debate. We're at the half-hour mark, so we can jump off of this. I think we've pretty much covered this. If we could have this debate, if you want, just talking about Freemasonry and whether or not it would defend the Constitution, if you will.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting into. What did you think I was going with?
No, I knew that's where.
Oh,
you were
okay.
going.
Freemasonry is not what it used to be back in 1776. We are more of a charitable organization rather than a world-shaking organization like we used to be.
Yeah, we're not so much activists.
No,
especially after the Morgan affair. Like,
no,
yeah,
we're not
a
activists.
little stealthier now.
Yeah, we're peaceable people. So if you ask me, would a Freemason defend the Constitution of the government? No, I think they'd peaceably submit like we're supposed to as Freemasons. 3%ers? No, they're a different story. They are not that they would ever, again, they're not, they're, fuck.
You painted yourself into a corner.
No, I didn't pay myself to court. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Freemasonry does not promote preparing whether it be offensive or defensive stuff. We're not in our chamber of reflection got body armor stacked to the walls, and
No.
we don't have any. It's not. You follow what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, I mean, Freemasonry doesn't really talk
No,
in particular about offense or defense at all.
no,
At least not
no.
in this regard.
Nope.
So
3%ers actually, the first place that they will fight any type of infringement is in court, in petitions. They do it the right way, the way they're supposed to do it. But at some point, they would, if the government was to become like communist China, Tiananmen Square, or Nazi Germany or Venezuela or something like that, then that's the difference between Freemasonry and 3%ers.
So how would you rectify the two if it came to that?
How would I rectify the two?
'Cause you'd be in direct conflict at that point.
Yes, I would be. That is hopefully a bridge that I will never, ever, 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 ever have to cross. And my hope is that the tenets and the lessons of Freemasonry will be spread by this podcast and other Masonic podcasts to
spreading the cement, brotherhood affection,
and brothers and men who are Masons will be able to somehow get it across that we're in this together and we're not against one another, and we could all kind of work everything out and learning to listen rather than talk.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And that's where I think.
So right now, I don't have a problem rectifying it because I'm hoping
it doesn't
hopeful
come to that.
It never comes to that.
But Worshipful Brother Ken made a statement before that Freemasonry we aren't really activists in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it did come after the Morgan affair and whatnot. But to me, and I've had this debate on, there was a Facebook forum that I had it on, a debate on not long ago, a couple months ago. What is our role
Good evening,
in
lunatic.
society now? What's that?
Lunatic. He just said, greetings, brothers. So I just said hello. Sorry.
Hello, lunatic. It's what is our role in society? And do we have a duty to society to get out there and be more activist promoting the tenets, not saying promoting Freemasonry and we have to have a membership drive or whatever, but the basic tenets that are universal that I think 95% of people would rally around: justice, equality, peace, thinking through, working together, unity, equality.
Right.
Maybe we should be more active in promoting those tenets to better society.
Yeah.
It's an interesting debate.
We're the guardians of civility.
Excuse me. I don't know if he's Worshipful Brother. Bill Powell? Is he Worshipful Brother or is he just a brother?
He's a horrible commissioner, I can tell you that.
Yeah, he's a horrible commissioner. And our
Hashtag not my commissioner.
Oh, actually, I want to give a
I think
shout
it's
out.
brother, but I don't
While we're
want
at
to
it.
screw it up.
Could we load the cannons, if we wouldn't mind? I got to give a shout out to a new Discordian who just, or Patreon, if you will.
Like during the show, he just joined?
No. It's S.W. Coleman is what he's got himself listed as. And of course,
Brother, not brother.
Hold on.
I'll have to put the puppet down for this one to work.
Yeah, he's not invited to our little party. He can stuff his face in those Brock's pumpkins that you have there.
Shove it, Clandy!
Yeah.
He's got his name here as a Patreon. He'll know, or a Discordian. He will know exactly who he is. We had Charles Bauer, I think we got last time. Colin Holiday, I think we got last time.
Yep.
Who jumped right in and went to war with Danny. Which
Right,
was,
and
he earned mad respect for that.
He fought a valiant battle.
Yeah.
I don't think Danny unleashed all his weapons in the arsenal. But
Nope.
Nah, he's got an ace
But
up
this
his
is S.W. Coleman 101.
Mm.
So I'm assuming he's a senior warden. His last name is Coleman, and
Maybe.
he's from the 101st Lodge of wherever he resides.
101st Airborne.
maybe he makes coolers
Maybe.
and camping equipment.
Maybe you should clarify all of
Coleman,
the speculation for us, sir. But
Such an
whoever
asshole.
you are, welcome.
But anyway, let's do a toast. So, oh boy,
Yeah,
oh boy.
it's because Joe gave me like half the bottle in my last shot. Puppet's just sitting there with
What are
his
you doing?
maw open,
I'm charged.
waiting for you to pour it in.
What, oh, wait. Is that? Oh,
Body shots.
just want to make a comment to. I believe Bill Powell got the nickname.
What
Did you get the nickname Tears?
The commish.
Isn't that what they call him? Tears?
I have not.
I don't know.
You
Yeah,
haven't seen it?
no.
I think it's
I have
there.
not heard of
Hopefully,
it.
one of the Discord guys can pop on. But anyway, to SW Coleman 101. Thank you for joining
And his coolers.
Patreon and Discord and his coolers.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir or ma'am.
As I
Could
almost
be
choked to
either.
death. Brethren, right hand to arms.
To arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire. Good fire. Fire out. Together, brothers. Vivat, vivat, vivat. And before I get to Brother Bill Powell's comment here, he put on YouTube. How do you join Discord? Patreon, if you will.
Good question.
So in order to get access to Discord, you would first need to go visit Patreon, where for as little as $3 a month, you can get exclusive access to Patreon content, the Discord page, which includes multiple channels now, including audio and text, and even our brand new fantasy football chat channel. And along with that, you could also get yourself a gold tone, the Freemasons podcast pin.
Yes.
And they're actually out. I think all of our
Yeah.
Discord members have them as of
Thank you, Rafferty.
Rafferty
Thank you.
took care of
Except for SW Coleman.
it, which we'll have to get
So
one out
far.
to SW Coleman.
So, Brother Bill Powell says, consider the friend-to-friend Masonic Memorial in Gettysburg. The brothers in the Civil War were on opposite sides, following the laws of their land, but were still brothers.
Yeah.
And truthfully speaking, to reconcile the two, I don't think it'd be any different today. I could still be a Mason. I could still, in a sense, God forbid, I hate even saying this, but I could be part of a rebellion.
Well, you could be part of a foreign war too, right? Let's say you're in the
Foreign war.
military,
Mhm.
Right.
okay, and you're a Mason,
Right.
And we happen to go to war with
England.
okay, we'll go with England. There are Masons
comes
there,
Daddy.
and you guys might be facing, battle to,
Right. Mhm.
against one another, and you're brothers. So there's precedent for it. It's happened before.
Right. I think it all boils
Tough to
down to.
reconcile.
To me, that's different than rebellion, though.
That's different.
To
Yeah.
me, that's a big, big difference.
Well,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
might be
if you think about it, though, it would. I mean, granted, God, I hate even talking in hypotheticals. I don't even like discussing this. But let's just say there was a second Civil War. It's not going to be clean cut lines. We know that for a fact. We know it's going to be faction against faction. There's not going to be states seceding. It's going to be a different kind of war. But I think that if there ever was, God forbid, a firefight or a civil war here on American soil, please, God, I hope this doesn't end up like our what is it, not virtual reality, our alternate
universe, yeah.
which literally weeks later COVID happened.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say that I could see Masons still being able to uphold their obligation by, after it's all done and over with, attending to the wounded, or
Yeah, but during, I think they're obligated to
Helping
sit
people.
it out. Because again, I don't think that was part of the obligations in Civil War or the Revolutionary War. So now we're in a different obligation. I think our obligation requires us to sit it out.
I don't know.
I think that has to stay up to the individual.
I think it has to stay up to the individual and what they feel is right. If you feel
The obligation says, or the charge.
What in God's name just happened there?
I think I kicked the wire under the
Oh.
table that was connected to that.
I thought a ghost just
now,
threw that
why in the
threw
hell
Rocco's
did you play
mic
that up?
across the room.
You should have seen his eyes. Ken's eyes were as big as fucking $half. I'd have been like, "Oh my god!" I would have played right into that.
I
Most
will
of the
not-
Sonic ghosts
because I-
want to kill me.
Because I
that's why.
can't wrong, cheat, nor defraud
That's true.
Brother Mason. I think our obligation would require us to sit it out.
I
Yeah.
think that's I don't know, because for someone like
Let me
me,
find the actual, and I won't read it. word for word, but let me find the
Well,
actual
let me just
part of the charge while you're.
You can like point it out too and be like, all right, read that right there. What do you think of that?
So you have two things, okay? The founding fathers were Masons, right? And they wrote these inalienable rights, which were the Bill of Rights.
Mhm.
And if a government, such as Thomas Jefferson said, becomes tyrannical, it is the duty of the people to change it.
Right. That's what the whole country was founded
Okay.
based upon. Yeah.
I don't know if there is a
It's easy to say when you're on the winning side, though.
but my point is, I don't think that Thomas Jefferson was a Freemason, but he was tied to other Freemasons,
Yeah.
and
George
many of those
Washington
Freemasons.
was, and he was leading the army.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, in my personal opinion, if I feel that people who are not, they're taking the rights away from, again, because we are supposed to promote, all of mankind, but more especially your brother Mason. So you see the conflict, and I'm sure this is the same what?
It's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope.
You have people in these organizations
But I would say,
that we're talking about that feel they're fighting a tyrannical government.
right.
Mhm.
Now,
And in the Civil War, you had states that were seceding. So the law of the land in the state where you reside said,
right,
this is our government now, right? When if it's an ideological civil war like the one that you were speculating about, where it's like people, like I could disagree with you, and all of a sudden we're on different sides in the same country, in the same state and town. Man, that's a
it must have
freaking
sucked.
gray
It must
area.
have sucked for the
That's
actual
gray
Civil
area.
War. It must have sucked for that. And believe it or not, the American Revolution.
Almost
Don't
similar.
forget, the American Revolution was we were English. We were part of the British colonies. And not everybody was. It's not like the entire Americas rose up and fought off the British. It's not how it worked. There was only, again, started off at 3%, and I think a max of 10%
took up arms.
took up arms.
against
Okay,
the-
so that leaves an almost 80%.
Yeah.
And I would even go less than that, because you had, I would have to say, we'll lowball it. We'll say like 60% were loyalists. Like
Right.
they didn't want to break away. And we'll go with an additional maybe 20, 30%, they were just neutral. Like we just
Yeah,
want to
or
live our
disagreed,
lives.
but we're
We're
not.
going to stay the hell out of it, you know? So I really think it boils down to, and again, we as Masons, we have to make individual, bringing this all back around to we were talking about joining other organizations and everything. As a Mason, joining other civic organizations or non-civic or whatever, it's a personal choice, and you need to make sure that you're making the right choice. And I guess the moral of the lesson of the night is use rationality.
Yeah.
And think before you just go do.
Yeah. And we're a volunteer organization at the end of the day. If you believe strongly enough in a particular religion or a particular, I don't know, political ideology or something like that, or, activist group, then, I mean, you got to follow your instincts. You got to follow your value system, join it, but you're not going to, it's not going to be consistent with Freemasonry, and you're going to have to either renounce your membership, or you're going to risk being expelled or
They
suspended.
may never be repudiated or laid aside.
That's right.
Well,
Well,
that-
that's true. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right.
Once
All
you
right.
take it, they may never be repudiated or
That's
laid
right.
aside.
Good point.
You can't do it when it's convenient.
That's
True.
true. That's
Very
true.
good point.
But you're out at that point.
I-
Freemasonry will,
Right.
use what it has available to it to
Right.
make
They-
sure
they-
that you'll be expelled.
I would also have to say, think of humans are funny creatures, right? So, in my personal opinion, there would be a psychological impact to you being pulled in two different directions.
Yeah.
Think of like Church of Satan. Okay, we were talking about that, the Church of Lucifer, or whatever the fuck they call themselves. You have Freemasonry teaching you to be a good, upstanding, moral person.
Mhm.
Do what's right. Always tell the truth. All these different
Golden rule and
values that they
Yeah.
teach you, right? But then you have something on the other side. So let's say, well, this is funny. Let's say, week 1 on Wednesday, you go to your lodge meeting. We're all talking, hey, brothers, how you doing? We're all talking about standing upright and tall and Masons.
Mhm.
And then that Friday, it's like, Illuminati, Illuminati, Illuminati. You know what I mean? Like you can't reconcile the two. And I think that at some point it would have some sort of a mental impact of you're being pulled, you're pulling your psyche in two different directions.
Well, yeah, if you can't reconcile two separate sets of beliefs, then you're
Right.
either like, a borderline, what do they call that? Borderline personality disorder or something
Right.
like that, where it's
Or-
your normal state, or you're headed for some kind of
Or you're going to be a Mason,
psychic break. Yeah.
or you're going to be a Mason, joining one of these other organizations,
Yep.
saying to yourself, God, I hope that the organization doesn't find out. Likewise,
Yeah.
you'll be part of that organization, going and doing moral and upright things like cookie drives and
Why
whatever,
would you even want to do that? Like, what kind of twisted,
hoping that somebody says,
sadistic bastard would you have to be?
hoping like, oh God, I hope the Church of Satan doesn't find out. Like, you can't reconcile the two. You can't. So you're going to be living a very, very paranoid life, hoping that not only being pulled in two different directions, mentally of doing what's right against what's wrong. It's like those what was those cartoons? Remember with the Looney Tunes? Remember the dog? He had the angel dog on one shoulder.
Oh,
he had the
yeah,
devil
yeah,
dog.
yeah.
But he couldn't stay in the middle. He had to choose one of them, right? It's the same thing. So I'd have to say I
Yeah.
would stay far away from organizations that are going to make you choose between doing what's right and what's wrong. Again, right now, with me being a 3%er, I joined it for the right reasons. I joined it because, again, I look at the history of like Nazi Germany and stuff like that. And, I seen what they didn't expect the Nazis to do that. Oh, no, it can never happen here, right? It can never, Soviet Union, no, it can never happen here. Or China, no, it can never happen here. It could happen here. You'd be naive to think you can't. So I joined for all the right reasons because I believe in this country and I believe in the people who live here, and I think we should understand. Here's another thing to think about, Mr. Zanino.
Yes.
I
I found the section I was looking for.
Okay.
Too.
Think about this. If a tyrannical government was to take over this country or become this country, what do you think would happen to Freemasonry? For instance, me as a 3%er and the 3%ers as an organization have been banned off Facebook. What's to stop that encroachment to banning Freemasonry? Because, we heard they're devil worshippers and we heard,
Well, Facebook's not the government.
no, but I'm just saying, like, true, but neither is the media. But yet,
Right.
government follows them, or Zuckerberg's in court every 5 freaking minutes in the Capitol.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You understand my point. So that's how I reconcile the two. That, in a sense, if I'm a 3%er, I'm also defending Freemasonry, so that we can practice being Freemasons.
Yeah, if you end up with a tyrannical government, they're going to be able to control companies and the public utilities and
Right.
internet access. I mean, look at China with the
Right.
Great Firewall of China.
Mhm.
You can do those kinds of things. It's just, it's completely counter to the belief system of Freemasonry. And I think
Right, but the
you're
argument
starting
is
to convince me, George.
But the argument is, who gets to decide that? Did
Okay.
we not just
Yeah.
have somebody try to ban TikTok in the United States, ban forms of social media?
Because it was run by China.
It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, but it's still,
We have a guy that tried to sign us up on a Russian server for our email right in the room.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, because that is
Oh,
separate topic. All right.
There you go. Comment of the night. It didn't even come from the puppet.
No, but my point is, who gets to define? Because there are some in this country right now that feel that our current regime is tyrannical.
Okay.
Yeah. And there is no real
So it's like
the government, like at our borders, we don't filter any kind of network connectivity whatsoever. That's like a normal day-to-day thing in China.
Mhm.
We don't do any of that. But to be able to all of a sudden say we're going to ban TikTok, one service that happens to originate in another country, we're going to ban that. That's different than anything this country has ever done. It's always been a free,
Right.
open connectivity to the rest of the world kind of thing. It does set a different standard.
so here.
If I may.
Go ahead, and then I just want to read one portion of
You know,
this.
I mean, we also as Freemasons, I think, need to not go through it. I'll even go to the grand jurisdictions or Masons as a whole. We need to stop going through our everyday vocations and trying to promote this craft, going, covering your eyes and just being like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. I mean, how many years have we gone through watching our membership die and losing people, losing Masons hand over fist before I finally decided, hey, why don't we do a podcast to try to promote it? But you get what I'm saying? Like, how many years have we gone through just Masonry, just the same old thing? Yeah, well, we're just going to go to lodge. And it wasn't until recent years when they started adding, like, call-em-alls, when they started adding emails. I mean,
I think attempts have been made all along when it was obvious that, the numbers were showing that membership was starting to decline.
See, I don't feel so. I don't feel so. And past grandmasters have proven that to me.
Yeah.
By their actions and
just like
words.
being angry.
I'm not being angry. I'm making a point, though. Some people are stuck in the mud. Masonry is stuck in the mud because they don't want to progress. Well, how do you progress? By keeping your eyes open and watching trends, seeing things that happen. So that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that, if, the way I reconcile the two is I keep my eyes wide open. I see everything going on. But the trick is that, when you're joining any other any other organization, you also need to make sure you're using, reason, compassion, and rationality.
Which most Masons, I think, would do anyway, because, I mean, we're taught to, and some of us do it better than others. Look, we're still rough ashlers, right? We're all trying to work toward that almost unattainable level of perfection. But, in our daily lives, we try to be the best possible person. We try to embrace Masonic values and business and our usual vocations and our family lives and everything else. I just see it as being, I mean, if you're already a Mason, I can't think that there's a high probability that somebody would go and join an organization where they would consciously be like, oh, yeah, it's going to be counter to what I did when I, what these guys are saying over here in Blue Lodge, but, whatever, I'll deal with that later.
Right.
Like, it just seems like I can't think that happens very often.
Right. So,
couple of things. So, as far as your Masonic obligation, before you start the degree, before you take that first step, you're always told, hey, look, I can't tell you what the obligation is going to say, but you're going to kind of have to trust me, because once you take it, you can't put it aside.
Right.
It can never be repudiated or laid aside.
Mm-hmm.
But I am free to inform you, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Okay. So you have an out. You're like, okay, well, either I need to agree, I got to trust this guy and agree to it. Because once I say yes, I'm in. If you're truly taking your obligation seriously,
right?
And then in the charge itself, to get to Ken's point before, and I don't want to read the whole thing because it's really close to our ritual. There's some words that are different, but there's one specific. There's 7-8 specific words. You are not to countenance. You are not to countenance disloyalty or rebellion. Specifically says rebellion.
Right.
So
I'd love to know when that was added to the charge.
I'm sure it was after the Morgan affair.
Now, I'm not okay.
So
if I may to that,
you may.
I'm not saying that Masons such as myself, who are 3%ers, should go out and try to openly rebel. But if it's already moving, there's also a You're not starting rebellion. Hold on, let me finish though. But there is also
I didn't start. They started it. That's your argument. They started it. I'm throwing away my oath because they started it.
I'm saying if something moves to a particular, if it's already happening, follow what I'm getting.
Not countenancing rebellion means you will not participate in rebellion.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that one. But there's also another thing that are left to our own choosings without getting too specific.
Yeah, but that's not.
Those things are not those things, though.
Oh, yes, they are.
No, they're not. No, it's not. This is clear.
We'll talk about this off.
This is clear.
Damn it! This is the one part.
It's really hard about being a Freemason is that we can't tell you.
You're
just going to have to join.
Join and find out. First part of this because it says you're to be quiet and a peaceful subject. Well, you're not quiet.
Okay, but there's another part All right, listen. If you guys want to find out what we're talking about, join Freemasonry.
Yeah.
Come join us. If you are a Freemason,
We could actually have this conversation in our Masons Only chat room
we
on
most
Discord, right?
certainly can.
We do have a Masons Only
If we
chat
can
room.
tile that.
Yes.
We found a way.
I don't.
Okay.
No, I have fellow craft and I have EA.
That seems
I don't know if I
pretty
had that
clear to me. So I would encourage all Masons listening to this that may have an, regardless of what your opinion is,
Mm-hmm.
before you dig too hard into that opinion, go read your EA charge. Go read it, specifically the part that starts with "as a citizen."
Okay. So here's what we're gonna
Specifically
do.
Go with that.
We're gonna shut this podcast
All
down.
right, so we can argue offline.
We're gonna argue
Argue
offline.
about it, yeah.
I may even record it. And if you are a Freemason, I need a picture of your dues card, and I will send you the recording of what we talk about.
Or send us your King
That's
Solomon's
good.
Pass, your QR code thing
Yep.
from your Amity app, and
There
we'll
you
scan
go.
it and verify.
Show us your
that there's
Amity
mutual
Green
recognition.
Lantern.
Show me your Amity!
ring.
Yeah, or your Dakota ring.
All right, brothers. What do you think? Shut it down.
Shut it down.
For the
Absolutely.
Freemasons podcast, I'm Right Worship Brother George Marjorie signing off.
Worshipful Brother Joe signing off. Puppy George signing off.
And Worshipful Brother Ken signing off.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
We're still live
Bye.
on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for tuning in. Catch you later.
Good to talk, brothers.
All right, listen.